Just like a movie star, Brandon Adam rolls on in right before the time for the show to start. But that's all right. That's all right. That's why we have you on the show, Brandon. Welcome back to Week 9 DFS Army Fantasy Football Show. Of course, we're here talking about our favorite flex plays on the week. Brandon, we got another good one for the people. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, good, man. It's gonna be a Brandon-tastic flex play week. That familiar names that we've talked about in so many other ways, and it's gonna be exciting. Yeah, I'm excited because one of my favorites from last year is turning on this year, and we're starting to see some of his explosiveness, and I think he's just getting started.
So for the people in the audience, that's what you call a tease. Let's just talk about some of the let's set the stage, as it were, Brandon, for the people this week. Sure. It is another Bimageddon. I don't know about you, Brandon, but like I'm looking at all my dynasty leagues where waiver wire scat, right? And I am playing some questionable players this week because of the bye weeks. We have let me clear my throat while I prepare for this. Sure. We have the Cleveland Browns, the Dallas Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the New York Giants, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Prince himself of fantasy football, the San Francisco 49ers are on bye. Christian McCaffrey,
oh boy,
he was a player that we were talking about at the start of the season. We were kind of lukewarm on simply because of the injury history.
Yeah,
dude's been healthy and dude's just been balling the F out. Christian McCaffrey, congratulations on a great season. But there's also some major injuries, Brandon, that we're going to be dealing with this week. So both of the Chargers' top wide receivers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, are out. Keenan Allen in particular, man, like they're just coming off the bye week and he's still out. Like that's not good. That is not good. Our sweet, beautiful baby boy, Rashad Bateman, officially out for the rest of the season with the Liz Frank surgery. It's just, we can't have nice things. Mark Andrews playing a Monday night game against the New Orleans Saints. He is very questionable. He didn't practice. Now, because it's a Monday night, their last practice is this week, so we'll have final injury reports today. But hopefully, Isaiah Likely, if you have Mark Andrews, you grabbed him.
Oh, yeah. Jonathan you better Taylor, have.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor, who was, I would say, like, he was a pretty much de facto 101 in fantasy drafts this season. Yeah. Some people were off him for say, Cooper Kupp, or maybe they wanted to go CMC. But JT, he's officially out. Deion Kane's season, although it's a tough matchup. Chuba Hubbard, he out. Ryan Tannehill, game time decision. Another Malik Willis game, perhaps. We shall see. Yeah. And Corey Davis is out as well. So, I mean, should we hold out hope for Elijah Moore? Probably not. But it's going to be interesting when you loop in all of the injuries on addition to the bye weeks this week. It's going to be a fun one, but we got to talk about it. Let's talk about our sweet baby boy. He's hot, he's cold, and baby, he's hot again. The gymnast himself, Brandon. Who's your favorite flex play on the week? Give it to me.
It's my guy, Ant-Man Rondell Moore. Let's go.
Finally time. We had to break it up. Yep. I have been up. This up. Brandon and I have been on Rondell Moore since a rookie, and he's finally getting the touches, baby. Let's go. Yes. It's going to be time, baby. It's going to be time. Okay. Give us some analysis. I'm so excited that Rondell Moore is officially a safe flex play. He's somebody who's getting targets, even with DeAndre Hopkins. They finally decided, hey, when we played him 2 weeks ago outside, didn't work. Played him in the slot. Tell me what
it works.
More, Brandon.
Yes, he's going to be substantial. He's going to have most of the time. He will be in the slot. He will be going against Kobe Bryant of the Seahawks secondary. He's not that great. Let's tap into him a little bit. He's the 52nd ranked coverage rating for Player Profiler. So that's a nice little matchup for him. Rondell had a career day last week. Getting 7 receptions, 92 yards, and a TUD on 8 targets. So he's getting some pretty dang good volume. If you look at his last 4 weeks, he's had only one dud week. That was against the Saints, or it was on the return of DeAndre Hopkins, where they were just force feeding him like crazy. Where they Kyler really wasn't looking at anybody but Hop. But with Hop back, and now we got Zach Ertz in there, you got Hop, and now you got Rondell with Hollywood out. he is going to get that second read out of the wide receiver group, and that's just huge. With this guy, he was a massive athlete coming out of Purdue. We loved him. He had a 40-yard dash of 4.37, speed score is 91, burst score of 135. That's in the 97th percentile. I mean, this guy is a complete athlete. He also last week which was pretty cool to see. He had 2 rushes for 12 yards, so six yards a pop on his rushes too. So that's the kind of stuff I was trying to project with him when he came out of college, was that Tyreek Hill kind of move him all over the formation, just give him space. Just getting him in space is a massive deal. With this game against Seattle, they got it's a 49-point implied of the game score. So that's huge, man. Like, I think this is going to be a very high scoring game. I don't see how it couldn't not be, to be honest, with how the Seahawks are just rolling right now. And the Arizona has to win if they want to stay in the race for this for the playoffs. So I like Rondale a lot, especially against Kobe Bryant in his matchup. He has that matchup, the athleticism to beat that matchup. The only thing with him is that, a lot of his targets are close to scrimmage, but to be honest, it's trying to get him in space and let him get yak. So if he can just get targeted like if he's getting 8 targets, I love it. So a flex play with 8 targets on a high end premium matchup against the Seahawks, I like that a lot. What do you think?
To your point, man, like this is a pivotal game. It's a divisional game for Arizona going up against Seattle. Seattle, of course, has, and frankly, congratulations, Seattle Seahawks fans, because the team that you thought was going to be in rebuilding is definitively in a playoff hunt, and they look good. And the one thing I'll say about Seattle is their secondary is actually shockingly good. But one of the reasons we like Rondale this week and where he was successful last week when they got back to the basics is when he plays the slot. Don't play him outside. When Hop came back and they were playing Rondale outside, one, he wasn't getting like the good targets, but he also, that's not where he shines. He shines in the slot. His twitchy quickness, speed. Our friends over at Roster Watch. So I would say in the industry, they're well known as one of the best rookie scouts. They're up boots on the ground, and so they interviewed Rondale Moore. One of the questions they asked him was, "Okay, if you weren't becoming a professional NFL player, what else would you be doing in your life?" And he said, "Listen, I'd be a fucking gymnast." The dude's
he would,
and he's quick. Everything that we thought he could be last season and were disappointed to see.
Yeah.
Slow start to the season because he was injured, came back, and hell, man, that hamstring injury, which these soft tissues, they worry us, especially for a quick twitchy type player like Rondale. It's been fantastic. It's been a beautiful thing. Yeah. I love the fact that right now, to your point, Hollywood Brown is out. It's him and Hop. And actually, I think this could be a sneaky little game for Zach Ertz. That's one of the ways the teams won against
Amen.
Seattle. Yeah, so that's going to be good. We got our boy Bali in the house. What's going on, Bali? Thanks for tuning in.
Bada bing! I love it.
Bada bing, baby. Yeah. So Rondale Moore. I mean, honestly, if you're building some DFS lineups, I mean, listen, go to our parent station, DFS Army on YouTube. Go check it out, DFS Army on Twitter. This is probably going to be a game that a lot of people are going to be stacking on. You look at the projected ownerships; they're definitely high up there. Tyler Lockett. It's actually not too bad. 11.3% expected ownership on FanDuel. It's going to be a good matchup. This is a game you're going to want to attack, and that's why we want to get these flex plays as much as we can. I have flex play. It's the Monday night game, which, as you know, we love talking about that Monday night hammer. I don't know about you, Brandon, but I find that if I'm out of players and my opponent has one of these players playing on Monday night, I have a very hard time watching the game, especially if it's close. Like last week, Joe Mixon, I think he had to put up like 18, 19 points for me to lose that matchup. I couldn't freaking watch it, man. I couldn't watch it. It's just too painful. But what I love is when you're the one applying that pressure to your opponent. And because of that, I like DeMarcus Robinson this week. Now, Devin Duvernay, of course, is, in my opinion, he's probably the wide receiver one in that team now. He doesn't get all of the volume, but he's the most efficient wide receiver on the team. With Rashad Bateman being out and with Mark Andrews being banged up, Isaiah Likely, he's a stud. He's a stud like frig. I love Isaiah Likely. Oh, there's the pooch. But Demarcus Robinson this week, man, he's going to come in, and Robinson is a shifty wide receiver. So last week, he actually received his best target share of the season with 8 targets of 21%. What it left is Lamar throwing the ball. Lamar threw it 38 times last week. It's just absolutely crazy. He's going to have Marshawn Lattimore in coverage expected, but Lattimore covers shadow covers between about 40 to 50% of the time. So that could be a challenge for Demarcus Robinson to beat. But this is per PFF. Okay, so since week 4, Robinson has led all of the Rashad Bateman wide receivers, i.e. anybody but Rashad Bateman, with 80% of the targets per route run. He has 4 missed tackles, forced receiving, and 3 explosive plays. The man has upside. It's going to be played in New Orleans, so it's going to be on the road. They're going to have to put up points on the road, as always. The only thing that I worry about is that, just based on the fact is, I don't know what New Orleans Saints offense is. We heard news today that Michael Thomas might be done for the season, rest in peace.
Yeah.
So what we want New Orleans to be able to put up points, because we know Baltimore can. We know that Baltimore loves that first half of a game, but if Baltimore can put up a complete game and play for 60 minutes, they could put up a lot of points. If that's going to happen, Demarcus Robinson is going to be a big part of that. And we got Tag G's saying, bada boom,
boy?
Baby. There we go. So yeah, Demarcus Robinson. And the other thing too is that it is a somewhat higher over-under, 47-point over-under.
Yep.
I say lock it up, man. The implied team total is that the Ravens are going to get 25 points. So Demarcus Robinson is going to be a big part of that. Lock him in.
That sounds good to me, man. Honestly, it's so sad to hear about Bateman, man. This guy is turning into Sammy Watkins, all the talent in the world, but just can't stay healthy and just can't put it together right now. And I as everybody knows from watching our shows in the summer and pre-draft and stuff, we were so high on Rashad, and it's his talent is there, man, and he showed it when he was playing. It's just, man, this guy cannot stay healthy. I don't know what it is. Honestly, the whole Ravens organization is just hammered with injuries the last couple of years, and it just seems like they have something going on where they don't have a consistency for availability with their players. So that's something I'm going to think about later for next year as well. Like, the only 2 guys I might be interested in next year for the Baltimore Ravens will be just Andrews and Lamar. That's it, pretty much, because they're the only 2 that have kind of proven that they can kind of stay on the field. So their running backs it's a bad situation as well. Gus is banged up again. He didn't practice all week as well. So it's and if Andrews is beat up, then it's going to be likely, and then. Yeah, okay, so Brian, I think you're right. I think that's the play for you. I think that's the right play.
I know you're still in Twitter jail, but I think you have visibility of Twitter. How many Isaiah Likely puns did you see this week through Twitter, social media? Like 800,000 Isaiah Likely?
It's like the most played out. It's like the most played out thing ever. To be honest, it's only been a week and it's so played out. And the funny thing is, when you get booted off Twitter, guys, it slows down your feed, so you don't get as many things in your feed. So it's pretty interesting, but I can still see everything. But I hop on to Flex Network once in a while and check it out. Check out Twitter to your shit. Listen, it's all good, dude.
The reality of fantasy football analysts is the fact that a lot of us are probably middle-aged, in our 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
Dads that love a good dad joke. So of course it's a likely opportunity to rock those dad jokes. Okay, we got to go on for Bali, and I'm going to pull this question up now.
Let's go.
Because this is actually a really interesting question. He's struggling with a flex. He's got Darrell Henderson, which I don't know what's happening with Cam Akers, but it's a tough matchup. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I think that's going to be a little bit sketchy. It sounds like Kadarius Toney is magically healthy again. Chase Claypool. Now, this is a player that I'm very, very curious on.
Yeah, me too.
I have Chase Claypool as one of my flex decisions in one of my leagues this week. And actually, it's between him and Demarcus Robinson. And I'm electing to play Demarcus Robinson over Claypool. But how do you feel about Chase Claypool in fantasy this season, rest of season, being a Chicago Bear in a low passing offense? Like they're passing 21, 22 times a game. It's brutal.
Well, to be honest, So Justin Fields has kind of turned it around the last 3 weeks. He's been a QB1 the last 3 weeks in a row. So things are starting to turn a little bit. And maybe honestly, all they needed was a guy on the outside to pull some attention and force teams to balance out their defense against their offense. And that's what Claypool's going to do. He is a monster, and I can totally see them drawing up some things for him specifically this week just to get the threat out there for the future matchups moving forward here. I'm actually kind of curious to see what's going to happen here, and I think it's actually going to help out Darnell Mooney a little bit, where he's not going to be the focal point of the pass offense, and Claypool will be, and that will help out the whole offense, to be honest. But I'm kind of scared to play him this week. I am playing him in leagues where I'm forced to. It's a good matchup against Miami. Miami can't stop the wide receivers too much this year, to be honest. They give up big chunk plays, and so that screams to me that they're gonna do 3 or 4 design bombs to Claypool. I think there's gonna be a couple opportunities for Claypool in this game. They're gonna just try and scheme open for him.
Yeah,
I can see that.
That's what's kind of interesting, right? Is the fact that Miami is allowing a lot of points on offense. So I am not confident starting Claypool this week simply because I want to see what happens. Usually in the real world, when wide receivers change teams in the offseason, they're slow to acclimate. Okay, unless they're a superstar like AJ Brown, for example, DeAndre Hopkins. But when a player is traded mid-season and has no chemistry, to your point, you're probably going to have 5 or 6 design runs. The way that Chase Claypool wins is not in 50-50 balls. He wins with his athleticism, getting deep and beating that DB. So to me, I worry about that. Although one of the things I loved about Justin Fields is his ability to hit the deep ball. So I'd love to see it now with Chase Claypool. Moving on, Drake London is an option here. Can you trust anybody in Atlanta? They're going up against the Chargers. The Chargers haven't been clicking on offense. They're not missing their. I think that's going to be low. I'm taking under on that game.
Take the under. That's a great call, man. That's a good call. I like that a lot. Good call.
But a player that you're going to talk about shortly is Zay Jones. So out of this group, as much as I hate it, I think Zay Jones is probably your best bet. Second would be Drake London, simply because he's going to get, hopefully, he's going to get to target share, but will he get to targets? It's hard to say. But my vote is on Zay Jones here. It's not great though. But what do you think, Brendan?
Honestly, out of all those guys, Zay Jones is the guy. So I wasn't going to – I had other guys lined up for flex plays, but I was talking about Zay a little bit in our chat. So Zay, let's just say this. Zay just became the captain for the team this week. He was just voted in as captain. I think he's going to – this is a revenge game for him against the Raiders. This could be a game where it explodes because the Raiders suck, man. Like they are just giving up points to anybody, and I think Zay knows their scheme and knows how they want to play some defense. So I think he's going to be able to take advantage of that. But his matchup is tough. He's going against Rock Ya-Sin. He's coverage rating of a 12th in the league right now for coverage rating for a DB at a player profile. So he's a beast. Like he's going to be really well, play really well. So Zay's going to have his handful. So. But honestly, I think the guy with the best matchup of the whole offense is going to be Christian Kirk this week. So I think that will be where they attack. But I love the fact that they voted him in as a captain this week, and he's going to be, I think that means something to me. I think that he could possibly be featured a little bit against his old team. So I out of that grouping, I would go Zay Jones 100%.
There you go. Let's rock Zay Jones.
Yeah.
Give me your second flex play of the week, Brandon.
My flex play. Oh man, let's go, man. My next flex play is a goodie from, the last couple of years for me, man. Antonio Gibson. Even with this mishmash of a freaking backfield. There we go. Old school, man. This guy is honestly been most disrespected running back in the league. And all he's done since Brian Robinson has come back, he's been the most consistent player for the Washington running backs. And to be honest, look at what he did last week. Last week he put up 21 fantasy points. He only had 7 attempts for 19 yards. But where he made his money was in the pass game. 7 for 7 for 58 yards and a tud. So that's freaking 8.2 yards per target. That's really dang good, man. Like he's a elite pass catching back, and I think they are starting to feel that this is where he lives and where he belongs. But with J.D. McKissick out, that is going to free up even more work. So it's only going to be Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. And honestly, Brian Robinson has been straight garbage, man. Like garbage. And I just haven't been too excited to see his production. And honestly, Antonio Gibson has proven that he's the better back of the two since he's been around. And they're going against Minnesota. And Minnesota is middle of the road against the running back position. They're 17th against the run for fantasy backs. So I think it's a totally fine play because honestly, Washington is going to be in this game script. They're going to be catching up, man. They're going to have to catch up. They're going to have to throw the ball to their check down to Gibson and get him into the passing game. So I expect him to get at least 10 targets this week. And I think he's going to get 10. He's going to get 10. He's going to catch 8. He's going to get 80 yards. And a tud, and whatever he gets for rushing yards is just going to be, the just extra yardage for him. I'm just hoping that they start seeing that he is the better. I think they do know he's the better back analytically wise. It's just Ron Rivera is one stubborn coach, man. This coach, like I swear to God, like he has no idea who is the best talent on his team, and it just blows my mind. I don't know what if there has to be something going on like off the field where
probably
personality wise he doesn't like, maybe Gibson's not a hard worker off the field, or I don't know, something's going on where I don't know what's going on. Like I don't see it. Like I don't get it.
So Ron Rivera, go to one of our favorite websites, playerprofiler.com, and just check it out. His advanced receiving. So in terms of targets, he's averaging about 4.5 per game, which ranks 9th for running backs, which is solid. He's number 5 receiving yards with 228. When you look at his yards per route run, so how efficient is he when he actually gets the ball? He's number 3 with 2.45 yards per route run.
Boom.
And he's got a 12% target share. So to your point, if they're going to be behind in the game, it's going to be Antonio Gibson's season. And you're right. You know what? Sometimes these athletes, maybe they just need a kick in the ass. And it seems like with Brian Robinson right now, like Antonio Gibson has always been good. Last season, what did he struggle with? He struggled with, I think it was the ankle that he was dealing with for most of last season. So he had the ankle injury, which for running backs, that's not a good thing, right?
No.
It was not the ankle of the heel. It was one of his lower legs. And then also
he had a fracture in his shin.
That's what it was. That was a shin. It was a shin. So that's bad for running backs. And then you add on to the fact that he was fumbling the ball, so there was that trust factor, right? I mean, what 2 things? If you're a player in the NFL, 1, availability is the number 1 ability, right? You need to be on the field. And 2, when you touch the damn ball, do not turn it over. That's important. Antonio Gibson wasn't doing that, and now he is. So yeah, I like Antonio Gibson. Let's answer some of these questions here. So Ray Gamer needs a little help at his wide receiver 2 and RB2 and flex. Oh God, if Cordell Patterson plays, which we're unsure if he's going to play yet, but I'll put him in the flex. If not, he'll start 2 wide receivers. Okay, Rondell Moore versus Seahawks, who we love. Devin Duvernay versus Saints, who I love, and Josh Palmer versus Falcons. Of those 2, it's definitely Rondell Moore and Devin Duvernay. And if you can only start 2 of those guys, who are you starting? Rondell or Duvernay? I'm starting Rondell, I think, out of those 2 guys.
Out of those 2, I honestly believe the matchup is Rondell. Josh Palmer is interesting because DeAndre Carter was sick at practice all week, so I don't know if he's going to be feeling great. So he might get a good fair amount of targets. So Josh Palmer is interesting. I like him. Duvernay, yeah. So I think Rondell Moore, I mean, he's coming on hot, man. Like he really is coming on hot, and I think he starts breaking out towards now. This is just needed to he needs to learn what his job was, and honestly, it was Cliff Kingsbury, man. he needed to learn how to use the guy. He really didn't know what the hell he was doing with the guy, to be honest. And he was throwing fades on the outside right up against the goal line to Rondell Moore. Like, what are you doing? Like, that is like that. I literally threw my hat at the freaking TV when I saw him do that. I was like, what are you calling? Why are you calling that? That makes zero sense to do that. So I was just, that made me pretty furious to see that. But now he's moving back in the slot. Let's rock and roll, baby. I think he's gonna. That's where he lives, and I think he's gonna get a ton of work this week.
Yeah, I really like Devin Duvernay as well, Ray, but I'm definitely going to leave Rondell more with him. Okay, we got a question from Brooks. Who to start? Terry McLaurin, user standard scoring. The thing I like about Taylor Heineke is the fact that he likes to hone in on Terry McLaurin. We've seen it. It's Terry's back, baby. Terry's back. Yeah. I'm starting Terry McLaurin, man. That one's. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's an easy one because that Monday night game is going to be, or Sunday night game is going to be a big shootout. But I like Juju, but I'm going Terry McLaurin in that one.
Agreed. I think they're going to kind of scheme up Tony a little bit in that KC game. So that could take away some Juju opportunities.
Yeah, Clip. I always need a good, solid kick in the ass to make sure that I'm on track. Buzz, another one here. Okay, this is a tough one. Swift or Williams? I'm assuming it's Jamal Williams, but it's got to be Jamal Williams, right? Until we know DeAndre Swift is healthy, Jamal Williams is getting the
he's getting the lion's share
of the touches. Yeah. And DeAndre Swift,
and he's getting the start this week too, even with Swift back.
Yeah. So I think that one's an easy one.
Yeah.
Listen, Rondell Clip, I don't know if you saw the start of the show, but we had a bit of a celebration at the start of the show. Okay, yes, and then lastly, if Swift is out and Cordero plays, and I'll put Cordero as my RB2, and the flex will be Palmer. So Ray, have a look at what we said about who we like over Palmer as a flex. Okay, Brandon, you gave me your second flex play. I'm going to talk about my second flex play, and that is going to be DeAndre Carter of the LA Chargers. Yes, I know. I said play the under, okay? But in your PPR leagues, DeAndre Carter, he's going to be filling for Keenan Allen. And I also do like Josh Palmer, but he's actually got a challenging matchup against Darren Hall. And yes, Atlanta, not the greatest, but Darren Hall has actually been very tough to play against. He's shadowed roughly 50% of the time against studs. So when Atlanta's playing against studs, like for example, DJ Moore last week, he only allowed one reception for 21 yards when he was guarding him. So Josh Palmer worries me a little bit. Whereas DeAndre Carter, who he was questionable this week because of the illness. Hopefully by Sunday, he'll be in enough shape, like good enough shape to be able to play a game, at least, get it out for 3.5 hours. But DeAndre Carter this week going up against Atlanta, to me, it's like I love that opportunity. When you look at DeAndre Carter, he was an undrafted free agent, but he has literally, Brandon, a 100 percentile agility score. So the man knows how to get open, and as long as they manufacture touches, the only thing that worries me is that it could just be straight up an Austin Eckler week, right? Maybe they say, you know what, screw it, let's just get the ball in the best hand, let's play Austin Eckler. But if DeAndre Carter can get 7-8 targets, I think he's going to be able to produce on that, because
I think he will.
Don't let Eckler beat us. Let the other guys dare the other guys to try to make plays, and that's how DeAndre Carter is going to win.
I agree. I think that's a phenomenal play, honestly. If he plays, if he's not sick, I think this is going to be a nice play. It's going to work out quite nice.
Yeah, and so one last question. So I only play in one league that has kickers, and that would be the Scott Fish Pool. So I'm not super in touch with the kickers, but I'm playing Harrison Butker on the Sunday night game. It is a massive over-under. So at the very least, he's going to get points with the PATs. And in the event that they don't score a touchdown, the Chiefs are probably going to be in field goal range. So he could legit put up 20 points as a kicker this week.
Yes, he could. He could. You're right. You're right.
All right. Yeah, we appreciate you, Ray. Thanks for tuning in, brother. Okay, Brandon, give me your third flex play in the week, brother.
All right, man. JT is out. Fire up Deion Jackson, guys. This guy, when he came on for JT last time, he delivered in a massive way with 28 points in PPR leagues with 12 touches, 42 yards. And he had 10 targets, 10 catches, 79 yards, and that was for 7.9 yards a pop. That's That's really, really good numbers. And this guy had some juice to him, man, to be honest. And Frank Reich really likes this guy. He's like, this guy, he said this week in pressers that he's going to be stepping up to be the guy. And with no Nyheim Hines because he got sent to the Buffalo Bills because James Cook sucks. They decided, hey, I'm just a fact. It's just a fact.
For the record, what I've heard is that James Cook does not suck. It's just that his pass protection is not the best. They don't trust his pass protection. So it's been
I agree. I agree with you. He gets run over, man. He really does. Yeah. Like it's just, it's a problem. And so he needs to put on that weight we talked about pre-draft. He needs to get back. He needs to put on some weight and get in the gym and be willing to get run over. Like he needs to be able to be willing to pass blocking is about heart and effort. And honestly, if he's shying away from it, that tells me he's afraid, and that I don't like that in my RBs. And that's something that maybe he needs to go talk to his brother about because his brother's a stud still, and he needs to get working with him. But Indy is facing New England, and New England is pretty dang good against the RB position, but I think they're going to be targeting Michael Pittman. They're going to be trying to shut down Michael Pittman and that. So I think he can be – if the pass rush is getting to Sam Ehlinger, I think a lot of checkdowns are coming Deion Jackson's way. So I could totally see another hyper-targeted games out of the pass game like he was the last time he showed up on fantasy with 10 targets. So I wouldn't be surprised if he hit those numbers again. And somehow sneaks into the box when they get on the one in the red zone there. He can fall into the end zone for you because he's going to be the one because they already said Zach Moss isn't going to be heavily used. So I could totally see. Yeah, Zach Moss is not that great, but he is a goal line guy, so it doesn't take much training or much whatever to be able to be a goal line guy because he's a big back. So that's the only thing that kind of worries me, but I think Deion Jackson is going to have the lion's share of the snaps this week, and he's going to get hyper used in the passing game.
Yeah, so Deion Jackson's interesting. I'm just looking at our chalkboard over at dfsarmy.com. It's where we hail, ladies and gentlemen. And we have something called the chalkboard, which is it's literally a list for each position for FanDuel, for DraftKings, just who the chalkiest players are going to be. So go over, check it out. And it looks like Deion Jackson let's look at DK because, again, it's more so the passing game. It's about a 15.3% ownership expected. So he's going to be pretty chalky this week. The one thing I will say that worries me a little bit is based on the fact that Sam Ehlinger sucks, in my humble opinion. I wasn't into him. And, man, I'm pissed off. I wasn't able to sell him last week because now the, news is out, man. He's going to be tough to trade, but I worry that this week it's going to be, again, I'm taking the under in this one. The Patriots are going to want to grind it out with Ramondre Stevenson. Mac Jones is healthy.
Dude.
I just worry that the Indianapolis Colts are going to have a lot of problems putting up points this week. I'm playing Pittman where I have him. I'm recommending people play Pittman where they have him because he's a stud. But
he's a stud. You always play your studs.
Yeah, I worry about that entire Indianapolis offense this week. But the Patriots are Jekyll and Hyde, man. Like, going against the Jets last week to shut them down, but 2 weeks ago in Chicago, they just got lit up. So it's hard to say with confidence, but where the Patriots have been weak is with running quarterbacks. So if Ehlinger can use his legs on the ground, he's not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback that can run. There's a distinct difference, right? It's kind of like Joe Burrow, quarterback that can run. That's Sam Ehlinger. If they can be in a position to score points in the red zone, then yes, Deion Jackson's going to pay off his price, and he's going to be a strong play this week. But I just worry it's going to be a low scoring game, in which case you just hope he makes it up in the air and he catches 5-6 passes in the air and get you at least a 12-point floor. So Deion Jackson's a very safe play. It's the reason he's a flex play. He's not just he's just not a locked and loaded plug and play type player, but.
It's just a matchup. It's a hard matchup. That's the only thing that kind of was making me hesitant. But to be honest, I think the guy has some juice to him when he has the ball. Yeah. So I think he'll be all right.
Absolutely. No, it's a solid flex play. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially again this week. It's just Armageddon. It's going to be tough. Okay, I've got one player that I'm going to talk about, And then, yeah, Trubisky. I'd say Trubisky's better than him, but let's move on. I think Benjamin this week went up against Seattle. Now James Conner, he was questionable. He did practice in a limited fashion all week, so there's a possibility that he does play, but he's got the rib injury. So those are the sort of things that I think it's going to be a pain tolerance type situation. Benjamin last week laid an egg. He put up like 8.5 points in PPR leagues, but Brandon, this is important. You have to look at just more than fantasy points. You have to look at the usage, okay?
Yep.
He's getting a 74% snap share, and he ran a season high 38 routes last week at a 79% route participation rate. He went 4 for 7 in the passing game, okay? This game is one of the higher slates or one of the higher over-unders on the slate. It's a 49-point over-under, and the Cards are favorites at home by 2 points. Where Benjamin is going to pay off this week in this game is that if it does turn out to be this shootout that we think it's going to be, we do think it's going to be a shootout. Benjamin, trust the process. You saw what happened. Week 1 he's in, didn't do much. You sat him in week 2. He blew up. You start him in the third week. He laid an egg, and you're going to be tempted to sit him this week. Trust the process. Trust the usage. Trust that Benjamin is going to get in the end zone this week against the Seattle Seahawks, brother.
I think honestly, I think that's going to be tough, man. But I just feel the second half of the season so far with the Seattle Seahawks have been kind of two different tales. They're giving up a ton of points, a ton of stuff. But they're starting to lock it in a little bit. They're starting to make it tougher. I just feel when James Conner is out, that means bet on Kyler rush over. Okay. Like that is honestly that is telling me bet on the rush over for Kyler. He's explosive guy. He can do it. I hope he can. The last time he was in the nut spot and we touted him, he fucking fell on his face. So that's people remember that. I remember that. And I just, it's tough, but I hear what you're saying. The process says to. So you got to trust the process, like you say all the time to me, and just do what the numbers are telling you to do. And it's sometimes just hard, but the matchup is good. So we'll see.
Oh man. Okay. So George Cook is asking us a question. This is totally out of left field, but I feel like we need to address this. Why can't the Texans just all do us a favor and just cut Brandon Cooks? So George, like everything in life, it really comes down to money, okay?
Yep, it's big money.
The Texans just willy-nilly decided to cut Brandon Cooks today, there is a $43 million dead cap. I'm sure that'd be prorated.
No chance.
Season. Yeah.
No chance.
Next season in 2023, if they decided to willy-nilly cut him, that's a $34 million cap hit. So it's all about the financials. And one of the reasons the team was so reluctant, I think, to take him this season is simply because they would have been responsible for the $18 million salary that he has next season, which I love Brandon Cooks. I mean, where the wide receiver market is going, maybe that's not a totally bloated salary. It looks a little bloated now, but it might not be next year. Every single year, these salaries are starting to go up, but the only way that Brandon Cooks is going to be on a different team is if he gets traded. There's no way they're going to cut him. Even if they restructure it and play with the cap, there's just such a massive cap hit. And I get that the Texans, they have the room, but I just don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening.
Me neither.
Rest in peace.
I'm sad about it too.
Fantasy managers. Okay, brother, we have named our three favorite plays. Let's just do a quick round of who are some of your deeper flex players or just players that you want to mention as we go through this. These are the ones you play and you just hope they're going to pay off.
No, I don't think this is a deep sleeper, but I believe Raheem Mostert is going to smash. He's going to be good. Chase Edmonds is gone, boy. Chase Edmonds is gone.
Problem is Jeff Wilson's hashtag good. I love this jam, man. This is just such a sick jam. Okay, go ahead.
Raheem Mostert is gonna. They've already said that they're gonna. Wilson. He should know. He should know the system for Miami because it's the same exact thing that they're doing at the Niners. Okay, so McDaniel has just literally just leached off 2 running backs from the Niners and just implemented their system. And look what's happening. I mean, they have, Raheem Mostert has been really good since he's come back from his injury. And last week he had 14 carries, 64 yards. He fell on the 1 yard line to score, and he would have paid off for the boy if he would have just fell into the end zone instead of just coming up short. I mean, so hopefully this week it doesn't happen that way against Chicago. Chicago is atrocious against the run and RBs. Third best matchup for RBs. So Raheem Mostert has the green light, let's just say that, and he has the workforce snap share and target share, and I think he's due to get in that end zone. He only got 1 touchdown this year so far, and his run, the next few games, he's got himself a nice green. I'm saying go trade for Raheem Mostert he's going to be a cheap trade target, and he hasn't blown completely up yet. He's going to blow up soon. He's got Chicago, Cleveland, a bye, Houston, San Francisco tough, and then the Chargers. So that is 4 out of 5 weeks that are legit green light weeks. And Jeff Wilson, to be honest, he's just a guy. He's just going to be there to back up Mostert, just to come and give him some breaks here and there. He's not going to take the job away from him. McDaniels likes Mostert. It's obvious that when he traded away Edmonds and in that Bradley Chubb trade. So I love Raheem this week. I think he's going to be great.
Brother Raheem. So one of the things you talked about, hashtag Jeff Wilson is good. It's true, Clip. It's very, very true. So one of my favorite tools over at dfsarmy.com. That's what we hail, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. There's a bunch of free stuff out there, but for our VIP members, there's a lot of tools where there's of course the DFS Dominator, where if you want to just plug in a few attributes, we'll plug out some of our most optimal lineups. But if you like to do the process yourself, we have something called the matchup tool. And what it is it's every single matchup of the week talks about your snap percentage, your rush percentage, your target percentage, your the defensive versus a position. So you talked about green light. When there's a bunch of green on there, it's going to be a good matchup. It talks about the snap shares, the snaps per game, the projected points in DK and FanDuel. So these are all just very, very simple things where it's okay. When you're going down the list, you want to just say, okay, if I'm trying to compare my players, and Brandon and I aren't here to help you out, and it's very, very similar. You look at the matchup. If it's green, locked and loaded, baby. If it's red, maybe be a little bit more reluctant. So definitely one of my favorite tools over at dfsarmy.com. It's super easy and it's super fun, and it's visually, it's just very, very intuitive to read. So go check it out. Matchup tool, one of my favorite tools. But okay, Brandon, once again, you what we call a perpetual line pusher, because I said rapid fire, some of your quick plays, and we had a 6-hour synopsis about Brother Mostert.
Because I like him.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Some other honorable mentions. Deonta Foreman, who blew up last week, going up against the Bengals this week. Love Deonta Foreman.
So obvious.
Yeah. Josh Palmer, I did mention him. He's still a good play. He's still going to be a good play. I like Romeo Doubs this week.
There we go.
If he's healthy, and if Alan Lazard, who's been dealing with the hip injury, if he plays, that's going to be a great matchup against the Lions. For your wide receivers, it's been play against the Lions. Start them against the Lions. Well, Lazard and Romeo Doubs are playing the Lions this week.
Perfect.
Kenyon Drake this week for Baltimore, going up against New Orleans. Gus Edwards might not play. Kenyon Drake could have a good game. At tight end position, assuming Mark Andrews is out, Isaiah Likely could have a good game.
Yep.
Last but not least, I like Evan Ingram going up against Las Vegas this week. It's a 24th ranked matchup on the slate, and he's a 16.85% target share on the season. So Evan Ingram is a de facto part of that offense, which we love.
No shit. 16%. Wow. Okay. That's higher than I thought it would be.
He's asking about Deshaun Jackson, man.
No, stop.
No. So for the record, we were talking about Deion Jackson clip, not Deshaun Jackson. But no, I mean, for the Ravens, it's a pure death play. It's Devin Duvernay. That's pretty much that's all it is, brother.
You know who I kind of like? I think who's the madman that draws up great plays? That's just coming off a bye week. That just got an offensive weapon. How about Andy Reid, Kadarius Toney? I think that is a sneaky deep play that you could, if you were able to grab him off the waiver. I'm sliding him in a couple of lineups. I'm hurting because of the buys and injuries and whatnot, but that is a guy that is highly, highly talented, a great athlete, going on a team that schemes people open better than everybody. I think honestly, they know how to get their playmakers in space with the rock to do positive gains. And Kadarius Toney, I know he has a small projection on Sleeper, because Sleeper's like, they don't know what to do with this guy. But I think Andy Reid's got something for the NFL with this guy. I think he's laughing about the fact that they stole him for nothing, and that he's going to be. I think they're ready to unleash a little package for him.
So for those of you, the millennials that are watching right now, you probably have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. But back in the day, there was this movie, and even it was like back in before my time, but it was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And you've seen this GIF probably all over the internet where it's, it's Willy Wonka slowly kind of going up, and then he does a little somersault, jumps up.
Yeah.
So baby, that's Kadarius Toney, man.
Oh my God.
That's the whole season. Oh man.
Dude, I wish we had a GIF of that and post that. That is so good. Man. You're right. Yeah. Like
I've seen it.
You're like,
I can't.
Obviously him and Dayball did not mesh, and I think Dayball is like a football guy, you know what I mean? Like he is serious about this game, and Andy Reid's like, if you got talent, I just want to have you and exploit your talents, because he can scheme anybody open, to be honest. He's a superstar at that, and he's just one of the elite coaches, and he just got himself a premium weapon that, this guy's like Percy Harvin, that's who he reminds me of when he plays, is Percy Harvin, and is the Florida boys look alike. And the NFL screwed up by allowing that to happen, allowing him to go get to Kansas City, because he's a real talent.
Yeah, I mean, Kadarius Toney is a knucklehead. It's one of the reasons he's struggled so far, that and injuries. But okay, one last question, and we're gonna get the hell out of here.
Yes, sir.
For you people from our clutches, we got Matthew coming in asking Terry McLaurin or DeAndre Swift, flex full PPR. I'm going Terry McLaurin, baby.
Yep.
In this one,
DeAndre
Swift, we just don't know if he's healthy. Definitely Terry McLaurin. So that's it, brother.
Yeah.
For those of you who are still reluctant to go and join the DFS Army VIP club, we have an offer. We can get a free month. DFSArmy.com/free-offer. Just follow the instructions, and you can get yourself a free VIP membership for 1 month. It's November, okay? Some of your fantasy teams might still be in it. Others might not be. Others might be completely hooped. In that case, that's why there's DFS, man. It helps. It can either compound the pain or relieve the pain. It's hard to say sometimes, but we're going to help you relieve the pain. So DFSArmy.com/free-try. And that's it, brother. We're going to be here for the rest of the season. Good luck in week 9. So for Brandon, I'm Flex Shane, and we are the DFS Army Fantasy Football Show. Peace.